Well, this is a performance that I conceptualized to be a rather large production for the dance company, the ASWARA dance company, which is comprised of graduates or outstanding students of the Faculty of Dance in ASWARA. I am interested to sell the brand of ASWARA. The brand is that we are multicultural. The dancers are made up of people of different races from Malay, Chinese and Indian, Sabah, Sarawak. I try to encompass all these different races so that they are representative of our nation. And as I thought more and more about it, I thought we must create a production that also reflects this philosophy. And so I have three faces. So actually, Malaysia has many faces. We are multifaceted, multi-faced, and that's what makes Malaysia so exciting and so different. But I thought for this one, I would combine maybe genres that people don't normally combine. And that is to open the show with Bharatanatyam, and then we have a Mak Yong performance, and then also a contemporary and hip-hop. The reason I chose these three because they are extremely different and they're extremely difficult. So I wanted to show the public that we have reached a certain standard, and it's very high quality of dancing for people to do Bharatanatyam. And that same girl then goes into the Mak Yong performance and sings like an angel to a completely different musical ensemble. And then in the third act, she comes out and she does some really hard contemporary dancing. So this, I think, will open the eyes of the audience, and yet they will be also introduced perhaps to performances that they haven't seen before. Bharatanatyam, I think, is possibly one of the most profound and most challenging and most difficult of art forms. You have to think of every single part of your body, sometimes from the eyebrow to the eye, to the mouth, to the hands, and every gesture has a meaning. And the rhythms that they are playing with, the musical rhythms that the dancers are dancing, so intricate. So usually Bharatanatyam follows a very orderly and systematic method of presentation. So all I did was, I think, okay, for this show we'll begin with this opening called the Pushpanjali, and then we have the Jati Swaram, which is where the dancers just dance to the musical syllables. And then there's a little Padam, which is a storytelling section, where the girl as a solo artist will dance, will act a story. And this story, there's hundreds and thousands of these stories, you know. So we've just chosen one of them, and then the final performance is the Tilana. The Tilana is the release, the joyous celebration of the unity of the dancer with the music and God and the spirits and so on. Mak Yong. This is an art form which we refer to as traditional theatre from Malaysia. And it has origins in southern Thailand in Pattani. There are different theories about the origins of Mak Yong, and many people believe that it was from the folk theatre, where they believe the Mak Yong is performed also as a ritual for healing, as a ritual to kembalikan the semangat, to return of the spirit that causes you to be unwell. And then the theatre form was adopted by many of the palaces and the courts in southern Thailand and in Kelantan. And naturally, when it's adopted or receives patronage from the courts, it really does undergo some kind of change. Because, you know, in courts, there is a certain protocol you have to think about. There is the do's and the don'ts of the court life. So I think this did change and affect Mak Yong to a certain degree. The beauty of Mak Yong is that it combines music and dance and theatre and comedy, dialogue and text all together to create a very whole theatre form. And it's really a phenomenally beautiful art form that UNESCO in 2006, if I'm not mistaken, declared it an oral and intangible heritage of theatre in Malaysia. Mak Yong depends so much on the skill of the singer, who is the Mak Yong, and the actor, and also the comedic ability of one or two of the characters. Interestingly also, Mak Yong is most often performed by women, and the comedy roles are played by men. So some people actually look at it as a very feminist kind of theatre form, because the women take all the main roles and the men are the comedy buffoons, you know. So people laugh at the men throughout the whole show. So the skill and the beauty of Mak Yong also is in the skill of the peran. It's called the comedic role, and how he can incorporate sometimes very current affairs into the script, because it's all improvised. And the dancing, it's just so beautiful, you know, the fingers and the fluidity of the movement with the music is just magnificent. The other very important thing about Mak Yong is the opening dance, called the Menghadap Rebab, is played as the dancers face the three-stringed instrument called the rebab. So the rebab player sits in front of the dancers and plays this instrument, and they sing. And that's when they change the character. So this is all very significant in the performance of Mak Yong. I want the dancers or the audience, especially the young people, to look and say that, oh, I love hip-hop and I love street dancing. And that doesn't mean I cannot learn the other forms. So one of the big problems that we face in this country is that young people don't want to learn Mak Yong. They don't want to learn this traditional form. They think it's too boring. But I think maybe if they watch the dancers and they say, well, if these dancers can do Bharatanatyam, can do Mak Yong, and then can come out and do hip-hop very well, maybe I can learn it too. So the performance of the contemporary work is very different. The movement vocabulary is very different. You know, the legs are all up here, and there's jumps and leaps, and they're rolling around the floor. So the audience is going to be left so surprised that these young people can do all these different things. I've taught here, as I mentioned, for 17 years. I have waited a long time, patiently training them, planning, organizing, and working towards what I think we are beginning to do now, that is to work towards professionalism. I'm very, very interested for people to see that these are highly trained dancers that you cannot find anywhere else in the world, I think. And therefore, I really want people to see that, okay, now you're only paying 20 ringgit for the show, you're only paying 5 ringgit for the show. But sooner or later, I want people to say that this is our job, this is my career, and I want you to come and watch, because we are going to give you a new experience. We are going to bring you to a different place. The music, the dance, the costume. I hope they will take back these very beautiful images and realize that art is so beautiful, that life can be so beautiful, and talent really is given to us by God, and therefore we have to appreciate it and celebrate it.